What do you think of when you hear the word cyberpunk? If your mind immediately conjures images of megacorporations, dystopian futures, and gritty anti-heroes, then you're already thinking like a cyberpunk. But what if I told you that cyberpunk is more than just a subgenre of science fiction? What if I told you it's also a literary movement? Join me as we explore the world of the cyberpunk literary movement. Cyberpunk, the literary movement, emerged in the late 1980s alongside the cyberpunk subgenre of science fiction. Just as cyberpunk fiction writers were reacting against the optimistic futurism of the 60s and 70s, the cyberpunk literary movement was a reaction against the dominant postmodern schools of thought in literature. Postmodernism had become the status quo in academia, but its emphasis on narrative fragmentation and self-reference, not to mention its sometimes elitist attitude, left many writers feeling creatively restricted. Cyberpunk offered a refreshing alternative. The name cyberpunk was coined by author Bruce Sterling in 1986 to describe this new movement. The term combines cybernetics and punk, reflecting the movement's key characteristics: an interest in technology and a punk rock DIY ethos. At its core, the cyberpunk literary movement is about giving voice to the voiceless, exploring themes of alienation, identity, and power in a rapidly changing technological world. Cyberpunk writers are the rebels of the literary world, much like their fictional counterparts. They operate on the fringes of society, unafraid of blurring the lines between genres or challenging the conventions of traditional literature. They write about the outcasts and the underdogs, the hackers and the hustlers, the people who are often ignored or marginalized by mainstream society. Through their stories, these characters become our eyes and ears, allowing us to experience the world in a whole new way. But how exactly do cyberpunk writers achieve this? What are the defining characteristics of cyberpunk literature? One of the hallmarks of cyberpunk literature is its heavy use of sensory detail. Writers create vivid and immersive worlds by appealing to all five senses. In the blink of an eye, you're transported to a smoky cyberpunk alley filled with the scent of stale waste and the distant hum of neon lights. You can almost taste the metallic tang of the rain on your tongue and feel the rough concrete beneath your fingertips. Cyberpunk literature also often incorporates elements of magic realism, seamlessly blending fantastical elements into everyday life. A character might find themselves talking to a sentient AI one moment and haggling over the price of a cybernetic implant the next, all while walking through a marketplace filled with the sights and sounds of a bustling futuristic city. This blend of the mundane and the magical creates a sense of wonder and possibility, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, hope and beauty can still be found. Another key characteristic of cyberpunk literature is its non-linear narrative structure. Writers play with time and chronology, jumping back and forth between past, present, and future. This fragmented approach mirrors the fragmented nature of our own memories and experiences, creating a sense of disorientation and uncertainty as readers. We're forced to piece together the story much like a detective piecing together clues at a crime scene, and when we finally do figure it out, the satisfaction we feel is all the greater for having to work for it. And let's not forget about the influence of music on the cyberpunk literary movement. From the pulsating beats of industrial music to the haunting melodies of synthwave, music is an integral part of the cyberpunk experience. It's the soundtrack to the movement, capturing its energy, its angst, and its sense of longing for a better future. If you're looking for a fix of cyberpunk literature, there are plenty of authors and stories to dive into. William Gibson, the godfather of cyberpunk, invites you to check out his seminal work, Neuromancer. Or if you prefer something a bit more literary, try Pat Cadigan's Mind Players. For a taste of cyberpunk poetry, dive into the surreal landscapes of Rudy Rucker's Tetraptych, and for a unique cyberpunk graphic novel, feast your eyes on Mobius's stunning illustrations in the inkle, so the next time you hear the word cyberpunk, don't just think of futuristic cities and neon lights. Think of the voices that give life to those worlds and the stories that explore the depths of the human experience. Think of the rebels with a cause, the storytellers who dare to ask what it means to be human in a world that is constantly changing and evolving. Because in the end, that's what cyberpunk is really about. It's about more than just technology. It's about us.